Hello. The topic of this presentation is how survival regression should be handled when the covariance change beyond the standard Cox model. Now we talk about survival analysis and output functions. Survival analysis is a method for analyzing the time until an event. The event can be death, device failure, or any other event. The key difference from ordinal regression is that the response is not just a remain value, it is a timed event. When the exact event time is unknown, but we know that the subject was event-free up to a certain time, the observation is called censored observation. For each subject, we can think of two times, the true event time t and the censoring time c. The time we actually observe in the data is the earlier of the two. Survival analysis uses censored observation instead of discarding them. Even if we do not know the exact event time, we still know that the subject survived without the event up to the censoring time. The survival function is probability that the event has not occurred after time t. For example, if v s of 12 equal 0.8, it means that probability of remaining event-free beyond 12 months is 80%. The hazard function is so different. It represents the instantaneous event rate at a specific time. In words, it is a rate at which the event occurs immediately after time t. Given that the subject has survived without the event up to time t, the Cox model directly models this hazard as a function of covariance. To summarize, f of t function is a curve that shows how much time remains, and h of t function is the curve shows how dangerous the situation is at this moment. The standard Cox proportional hazard model is written as here h0 of t function is baseline hazard, and the exponential is the partial hazard that shows how much the covariance multiply the baseline hazard. The strength of the Cox model is that we do not need to specify the exact shape of the baseline hazard. The model leaves the overall time pattern of risk flexible and estimates how the covariance relatively increase or decrease the hazard. We should know the Cox model has an important assumption. The hazard ratio beta is constant over time. The value we seek through regression is an estimation of beta. In this case, h0t function is eliminated and does not need to be considered. We can estimate its coefficient without specifying the full baseline hazard function. In ordinary regression, the model predicts a numeric response. In Cox model regression, we do not directly predict the event time. Instead, we model how coverage changes the instantaneous event rate or hazard. Therefore, the coefficient should be interpreted as a hazard ratio, not as a direct change in a survival time. Standard Cox proportion hazard model usually assumes that covariates are measured at baseline and remain fixed. For example, we may measure a treatment group once and then use those values to explain the hazard. However, this assumption is often unrealistic. In real data, we can think blood pressure can change over time. Patients may start medication in the middle of follow-up. So main question is In survival data with time-varying covariance, how can we correctly compare hazard and its in time? When there are time-varying covariance, the Cox model can be written as the important point is this not mean beta changes over time. In this setting, the covariance value x of t changes over time. The same patients can have different covariance value in different time intervals, such as untreated from 0 to 3 months and treated after 3 months. A time-varying coefficient is a different issue and is more directly related to violation of proportional hazard assumption. Here we separated that issue and we focus on case where the covariance value itself changes over time. The reason standard Cox model is not enough, that is not simply that we wanna add to time variable. The key issue is that we know the covariance value of each subject at each event time. Suppose a patient can receive a transplant only after 1 year. In a study, if we classify everyone who eventually receives a transplant as belong to the transplant group, from the start of this study, we create a problem. To enter the transplant group, a patient must survive at least until the transplant. That period is time during which the event cannot occur for the subject to be classified transplanted. This is called immortal time. If we repeat a standard Cox model with this incorrect grouping, the transplant group may appear survivor artificially longer. In contrast, the non-transplant group may include patients who died before they could receive a transplant, so the hazard in a non-transplant group can be overestimated. In this table, subject A is the non-transplant state until 12 months and then moves into transplant state after 12 months. Subject B has an event at month 8, so B can never enter the transplant group. From a regression perspective, the key change is not that we estimated a different coefficient beta at every time point. The coefficient beta is still shared. The difference is that the covariance input is now time dependent. In standard Cox regression, each subject contributes the same covariance vector whenever they are in the risk set. In time varying Cox regression, the same subject can contribute different covariance values in different intervals. When B has an event at month 8, subject A is still at a risk, but A has not received transplant yet. Therefore, should enter the risk set as non-transplanted 8 months. This is exactly why we need a long format interval data. To use time-varying covariance in a Cox model, the data should not be in a one row per subject. Each row usually represents interval start and time. Intervals for the same subject must not overlap, and the event should be marked only on the interval in which the event actually occurs. Not all time-varying covariance should be handled in the same way. We first need to define what the covariance means. For example, some covariance represent the current state. For example, current blood pressure replaces the previous value when a new measurement observed. This is state change. Other example covariates represent cumulative exposure. Total medicine dose increases over time. In the case, the increments should be accumulated over time. So before analysis, we should ask, is this covariance a current state or is it cumulative exposure or others? If this distinction is wrong, the model may converge, but the interpretation can still be wrong. Another important issue is reverse causation. For example, suppose we analyze smoking amount and death risk. A patient may become very sick just before death and reduce smoking to zero. If we use this data directly, we might get strange conclusion that not smoking is associated with sudden death. In that case, note that the coverage did not cause the event. Instead, worsening health status during the event changed the covariance. One way to reduce this problem is to use delayed covariance by using x of t minus t instead of x of t. The model reduces the influence of covariance change that occurs too close to the event. In other words, when explaining the current event risk, we use the covariance value from some time before the current time, not the immediately previous value. However, choosing the delay length requires domain knowledge, not just statistical convenience. The time-varying Cox model can be used for prediction, but prediction is not as simple as in the standard Cox model. In the standard Cox model, baseline covariance are fixed, so it is relatively natural to predict a survival curve from those covariates. In a time-varying Cox model, however, we need the future coverage path. For example, to predict a patient's survival beyond 12 months, we would need to know the patient's CRP after 12 months, but knowing those future coverage value is tied to the fact the patient was observed up to that future time. This makes prediction logically difficult. I think the neural net based approaches may be one possible alternative at this point, given baseline information and previously observed covariance history. An RNN or transformer could forecast future CRP. The predicted covariance path could then be used as input to time-varying survival model. However, we note that the output of a neural network is not perfectly unbiased information. So there is also a possibility that various problems may arise. Finally, this slide summarizes the main points of PPT. First, the standard Cox model assumes that coverage are fixed over time. However, in many real data set coverage change over time. We should use time-varying Cox model where the model uses x of t, the coverage value at each time point. Second, to use time-varying covariance correctly, the data must be represented in long format. Each row it corresponds to a time interval, not one subject. This is important because the Cox model compares subjects at each event's time, so it must know each subject covariance value at the exact time. Third, not all time-varying covariates have same meaning. Some variables are current states, such as current blood pressure or current CRP. Others are cumulative exposure, such as total medication dose. If we compute these two cases, the model may still learn, but the interpretation can be more wrong. Finally, time-varying Cox models are useful, but prediction is more difficult than the standard Cox model. The reason is that future prediction requires future covariance value. Without knowing the future covariance trajectory, we can compute hazards for observed intervals or make scenario-based prediction, but individual unconditional survival prediction is limited. Thank you for watching.